Hello, everyone. This is Genetics with Ashabir's YouTube channel. I am back with a new tutorial video. In today's video, I will try to discuss useful concepts on plant domestication and crop evolution. Thus, I want you to be here with me until the end of this video. Plant domestication is the process of bringing wild species under human management. Prehistoric men and women domesticated most of the currently cultivated crops from weedy species. However, the big question is, how did plants become domesticated despite their evolutionary processes to protect them from being eaten by the development of various defensive mechanisms such as poisons, bitter substances, etc.? To answer this question, going back to pre-human history is necessary. Hunting and gathering were the primary way of life for early humans for thousands of years, dating back to the Paleolithic era. This lifestyle involved small, nomadic groups of people who relied on hunting animals, fishing, and gathering wild plants for sustenance. These early humans were highly skilled at tracking and hunting game, as well as identifying edible plants and berries. The hunting and gathering lifestyle required a deep understanding of the natural environment and the ability to adapt to changing conditions. While this way of life provided a means of survival for early humans, it also required constant movement in search of food and resources. As populations grew and resources became scarcer, early humans began to experiment with plant domestication, leading to the transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture. Thus, the answer to the earlier question we raised relies on an understanding of the domestication process, which involves a gradual process of selecting and cultivating wild plants with desirable traits for human consumption. Early humans would have observed and experimented with different plants, noticing variations in taste, size, and growth patterns. Over time, they would have favored plants with traits such as larger and more nutritious seeds or fruits, easier harvesting methods, and faster growth rates. Through selective breeding and cultivation, humans were able to gradually reduce the presence of undesirable traits such as bitterness or toxicity in plants, while enhancing desirable traits for human consumption. This process of domestication involved trial and error, as well as a deep understanding of plant biology and genetics. While many plants do have natural defenses to protect themselves from being eaten, humans were able to overcome these obstacles through careful selection and breeding, ultimately leading to the development of the diverse range of domesticated crops that we rely on today. Over the years, there were both natural and artificial selections, and these led to the evolution of the present plants. These two selection types differ from each other depending on the agency responsible for it. For example, natural selection. It is due to natural forces like climate, soil, biological factors such as disease, insect pests, etc. While artificial selection is carried out by humans and is confined to domesticated species. It allows only the selected plants to reproduce, which ordinarily makes plants more useful to humans. From the earlier discussion, you have understood what plant domestication means and its relation to human history, as well as the difference between natural and artificial selection and their importance in crop evolution. The other important point we will try to see is the major changes that occurred during the plant domestication process. I will try to put the changes as positive and negative from a man's point of view. These are the positive changes that occurred during the domestication process. Reduction of shattering and dormancy. Decrease in toxins or undesirable substances. Modified plant types, altered tillering, branching, leaf characters, etc. Increased dwarf and determinate plant types, shorter life cycles. Cotton is the best example. Increased economic yield, grain and fruit sizes. Shift in sex forms, promoted asexual and bisexual reproduction and reduced self-incompatibility. Promoted or favored polyploidies. Decreased variability, for example, pure lines. Through domestication, crop plants have undergone genetic modifications that have made them more susceptible to pests and diseases. This is because the breeding process for domesticated crops often prioritizes traits that enhance their yield or marketability, rather than those that improve their resistance to pests and diseases. As a consequence, these crops become more vulnerable to attacks from pests and diseases, which in turn increases the demand for the use of pesticides. The last point in the tutorial video will be on the pattern of evolution in crop plants and the main factors that cause genetic changes in plants over time. Crop evolution is the process by which plants have been selectively bred over generations to develop desirable traits such as increased yield, disease resistance, and improved taste. This process is driven by human selection, where farmers and plant breeders choose plants with the desired traits to be the parents of the next generation of crops. In crop evolution, the selection pressure can be either natural or artificial. Natural selection occurs when certain traits provide a survival advantage to plants in their environment, leading to those traits becoming more common in the population over time. Artificial selection, on the other hand, is driven by human intervention and involves deliberate breeding of plants with specific traits to create new varieties. In modern agriculture, artificial selection is the predominant form of selection in crop evolution. Plant breeders use a combination of traditional breeding methods and modern biotechnologies to develop crops with improved traits such as higher yield, resistance to pests and diseases, and tolerance to environmental stresses. The variability in crop species arises from 5 major factors. The first factor is natural and interspecific hybridization, which involves the crossing of 2 different species or varieties of plants, leading to offspring with new genetic combinations. Second, spontaneous mutation can occur due to random changes in the DNA sequence during cell division or due to external factors such as radiation or chemicals. There are several types of mutations, including point mutations, which involve small changes in a single nucleotide base, frame shift mutations, caused by insertions or deletions of nucleotides, and chromosomal mutations, which alter the structure or number of chromosomes. These mutations can have both positive and negative effects on an organism, influencing traits, genetic disorders, and evolutionary processes. Understanding the different types of mutations is essential in the study of genetics and the mechanisms of biological diversity. Third, polyploidy refers to the condition where a plant has more than 2 sets of chromosomes in its cells, which can occur through several mechanisms. Polyploidy can be autopolyploidy, where the additional sets of chromosomes are derived from the same species, or allopolyploidy, where the chromosomes from different species combine. The fourth factor is long-term cultivation by humans, which can result in both intentional and unintentional genetic changes in crop populations, influencing their genetic diversity, adaptability, and resilience to environmental challenges. Fifth, changes in ecology, such as shifts in temperature, precipitation patterns, or the presence of new pests or diseases, can create selection pressures on plant populations. Plants with genetic variations that provide advantages in the altered environment are more likely to survive and reproduce, leading to changes in the genetic makeup of the population over time. The tutorial video for today concludes with the above information. I hope that you have gained valuable insights into plant domestication and crop evolution. In my next lecture video, I will cover more interesting topics. I invite you to subscribe and share the channel. Thank you for your attention.